Hi, welcome to Yoga at the Library. We have a little bit of everything for you tonight. You do not need any props unless you like to have something underneath your knees and your yoga mat. That's all. So we're going to begin all the way down on the floor on our backs. We're not having one of those classes today where we stay down the whole time. We'll be down, up, and then make our way back down. Just so you know, we're not going to be just on the floor today. And I think everyone will get a little stretch that they need for their bodies today. That's my goal. So we're going to make our way all the way down. Just getting horizontal on the floor and noticing how your body feels right away. Noticing how gravity pulls and pushes on different areas of your body. Notice if you feel lengthening or release anywhere. Notice if you need to adjust anything in order to feel lengthening or release anywhere. The knees bent is just fine, or the legs out long, whatever feels best to you and your body today. Feeling the natural curves of the spine against the floor. Feeling the tailbone, the back of the pelvis against the floor. Taking several deep breaths, noticing how the breath affects the sensations you feel, especially through the back of the rib cage, the belly, the places that expand the most when you breathe. So noticing how the breath expands the ribs, expands the belly, expands your body in space down into the mat. And on our exhales, we contract everything, compressing, getting all that stale air out. And we'll take the arms wide out to the sides in a T. If your legs are all the way straight, go ahead and bend them, taking the bottoms of the feet to the floor, just opening up across the chest. And here with the chest open, we'll take a big deep breath in through the nose, feeling the chest rise, and exhale through the mouth. Another round just like that, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Alrighty, bringing the heels nice and close in towards the sit bones. And we'll take the knees over to one side. Inhaling, they come back up to center, and exhaling those knees down to the other side. Just moving with your breath, waking up the spine and the obliques, warming up your body. Meet with the knees back towards center, adjusting your spine so it feels like your whole spine, even your low back, is down against the floor. And we'll keep the left foot to the floor, hugging the right knee in. Check in with your right ankle, rolling it out a couple times. And maybe we'll take the left leg long. Check in with your low back though. Make sure that you're still keeping the whole spine on the mat. We'll make circles with this right knee. It's a little extra work to keep the lower back down to the floor, you will notice. But it's really valuable work strengthening that deep core, strengthening the low belly muscles. Go ahead and switch directions with the right knee, exploring your range of motion on this side. Noticing any places that are tight, any places that are open, or you feel a nice release. And we'll come to center with that right knee. Hold on behind the leg, sending the foot very gently up towards the ceiling. Big bend in the knee is just fine. Rolling out the ankle. Switching directions. We'll flex and point the toes a couple times. Inhaling to flex and exhaling to point. Inhaling to flex and exhaling to point. We'll release that leg and slowly, slowly lower it all the way down to the mat. Noticing a difference between the right and left legs just from that minute or so of activity on the right side. And we'll come to the left side and even it out. So bending that left knee in, holding on to the left knee, rolling out the ankle a couple times, just getting that ankle kind of woken up. And we'll make circles with the knee, letting the ankle and the foot be soft now. Using just your arms to wake up this left hip. Bringing some space into it, bringing some movement into it. Maybe you have had the kind of day where you get to stretch your hips a lot. Maybe you haven't. So depending on your day, just getting into these hips however they need to be woken up right now. Switching directions if you haven't already. I started blabbing. We'll come back to center. Gently lifting that foot up towards the ceiling with a bent knee, gentle on the hamstring, and rolling the ankle. Trying to make smooth circles with the toes. And we'll switch directions. Slowly we'll release that leg and lower it all the way down to meet the opposite. We've got both legs long on the mat, both feeling a little more active than they were 5 minutes ago. Reaching the arms up overhead and stretching from the fingertips all the way down to the toes. Let's go ahead and cross the left ankle over the right and take a hold of your left wrist. We're stretching the hands up and over to the right side of the mat, beyond the top right corner of the mat. We can even move the feet over Stretching the feet beyond the bottom right corner of the mat. We're getting a big stretch through the left side of the body, coming into Bananasana, a pose in the shape of a banana. It's a good one. Big stretch all the way from those left fingertips down to the outside of the left heel. The IT band on the outside of the leg, the obliques on the outsides of the ribs, the underarm. And we'll make our way back to center, uncrossing the legs, adjusting yourself so you feel more centered. And we'll take that pose on the other side. So we're taking the right ankle over the left, taking a hold of the right wrist, reaching up and down and beyond the left corners of the mat. Stretching from the right fingertips all the way down to the right heel. Big deep breath in, feeling the lungs expand, especially on that right side. And we'll come back to center. Taking the bottoms of the feet to the floor. And again, we'll take the arms out wide in a T. Swing those knees from side to side, circulating some of the energy that we generated down here on the floor. Inhaling, knees up to center, and exhaling down to the other side. When you feel even, meet with your knees back up at center. We'll hold on to both knees. Give them a hug. Bring the chin up towards the knees. We'll rock from side to side a couple times, massaging out the back. And then we'll rock forward and back, coming all the way up to a seated position. Taking your time. So we'll sit in our Sukhasana, our easy seat with the ankles crossed. And if this easy seat does not feel nice and easy to you, you can always fold up a blanket or a towel and sit on it. You can sit on a yoga block, a firm pillow, anything to elevate those hips so that it takes some of the angles out of the knees and the hips. If that feels good to you, please take that modification. So we're sitting up nice and tall, lengthening the whole spine all the way up from the tailbone to the base of the skull, reaching high towards the ceiling. Shoulders are dropped down away from the ears. Hands can rest wherever it's comfortable. Let's take a couple breaths here into the low belly. Feeling the low belly expand. And shrink and contract on your exhale. Inhaling to expand the low belly. And exhaling to shrink and contract. We'll try the rib cage. Inhaling to expand the rib cage. And exhaling to contract and exhale. So we're sending the breath into these different areas to kind of wake them up, to energize the whole body. And then we'll send the breath into the upper chest. Inhaling, feeling the heart rise, and exhaling. we'll try to do a pattern. We'll try to do low belly, rib cage, and upper chest. Inhaling and exhaling. Alrighty, check in with your shoulders. Did they creep up towards your ears while you were focusing on your breath? Mine did. That's all right. We're gonna get nice and centered, rooting evenly through both sit bones. Let's go ahead and take the arms out and up. And exhale down to one side, reaching up and over. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the other side. Moving with the breath. You feel even, meeting back at center. And we'll bring the hands down through center, bringing the palms or the fingertips to the floor in front with a straight spine, or walking those fingertips forward till we feel like we can't keep a straight spine any longer. At that point, take a big deep breath in and then exhale to fold all the way down. Letting the head be heavy, letting the spine be long. Just letting gravity fold us forward, opening the outsides of the legs, the outer hips. Stretching the back of the neck, stretching the low back. We'll make our way on up, back to a long spine. And carefully we'll switch ankles. So we're taking the opposite ankle in close, re-rooting through both sit bones, sitting up nice and tall. We'll take the fingertips to the floor. Walk those fingertips forward till you feel like you can't go any farther with a straight spine. We'll take a big deep breath in at that point, and then exhale to fold all the way down. Releasing through the spine, releasing through the back of the neck. Letting your exhales take you a little bit deeper into the pose each time. And we'll make our way back up. So now we're in Sukhasana, easy seat on the other side. We'll bring the palms together, sitting up nice and tall. Shoulders are dropped away from the ears. Taking a big deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward, shoulder blades separate. Inhaling, palms come up, shoulders stay dropped away from the ears. Exhaling, hands reach back behind. Maybe the hands can interlace. And inhale to lift the heart, lift the hands, lift the chin. Exhaling, hands come into the center. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward. Inhaling, palms on up. Exhaling, hands reach back. Inhaling to open the heart. Lift the hands and lift the chin. And exhale, hands come into the center. We'll do one more of those. Deep breath in. Exhaling, palms press forward. Inhaling all the way up. Shoulders stay dropped. Exhaling, hands reach back. Lifting to open the heart. And exhaling, hands come into the center. Alrighty, taking a hold of both knees, we're going to roll the heart around. Rolling it back all the way over to one side, using the hands to the knees for some leverage. Moving all the way around and feeling out the low back, the hip flexors. Noticing whether you lose your balance, what parts of your body work to get you back in balance. We'll switch directions. Finding stretches, finding places that need to be stretched, finding tight places and open places on our way around. And we'll make our way all the way back to center. And find, let's uncross the ankles, bottoms of the feet to the floor. Wiggle out the toes. Shake out the feet. Even give yourself a little massage through your calves and your knees, the backs of your knees after sitting in that easy seat pose. And we'll make our way, once you're ready, we'll make our way into our tabletop position on hands and knees. And this is where, if you like to have a blanket underneath the knees, now is a good time to have that. We are going to come into downward facing dog, so depending on the floor underneath your mat, you might not want to fold the bottom of the mat over, because then when your toes go down and try to grip, you might have a slippery situation. Just maybe, depending on your floor. So if you like a pad under the knees, make a pad under the knees. We're going to go ahead and come into our neutral tabletop. Wide fingers, palms right underneath the shoulders, knees right underneath the hips, long straight spine. The gaze is down at the floor in between the fingertips. The shoulders feel wide and stable. Same with the hips. We'll move with the breath. Inhaling, lifting the tailbone, dropping the belly, lifting the chin. And exhale, rounding up through the back, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin. Moving with your breath. We can incorporate the feet here, tucking the toes and untucking the toes with your movements. Whatever feels natural to you. Taking little extra movements, side to side, up and down, giving yourself some more fluidity here. Again, noticing tight places, noticing open places. And when you feel even, coming back to center. Back to that neutral spine. And we'll untuck the toes if they're tucked. Take the knees a little wide, the big toes together. We'll come all the way back with the hips towards the heels for child's pose. Getting low. Lowering the forehead down towards the floor, lowering the tailbone down towards the floor. This pose is all about letting gravity stretch the fronts of the legs, the sides of the hips. Letting the forehead be heavy so that the spine is long and soft. We'll walk the fingertips as close to the top of the mat as you can, lengthening those arms. And then let's walk the hands over to the right, stretching through the left side. Lots of full body stretches in this class, moving the energy all around. Take a big full round of breath over here, a full inhale and exhale. We'll make our way back through center and then over to the left side, stretching through the right side. Making our way back to center. And we'll carefully come back onto hands and knees. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips. Extending the right leg long, tucking those toes and pressing through the heel to open up the back of the leg. That child's pose is a pretty big bend, obviously, a bend with pressure on the knee, so it's nice to open up the hamstring after doing that. Stretching out the left side, extending the left leg and tucking that toe, pressing into the heel. Bringing the knees back underneath the hips, tucking those toes, planting the hands really, really strong, and we're going to come into downward facing dog. So we're lifting the knees, lifting the hips, finding our upside down V, and walk those feet wherever you need to on your mat. They don't need to be up close to your hands at all. We want to find a place where we feel long through the arms, long through the legs, and long through the spine. Alternate bending one knee and then the other. Again, working into those hamstrings. We'll take a big deep breath in, coming up onto the tippy toes. And then exhale, bringing the knees all the way down to the floor. We're going to do that 2 more times. Planting those hands, making whatever adjustments you need now that you know where we're going. Inhaling to lift the hips, lift the knees for downward facing dog. Maybe this time you can be a little bit more still instead of moving back and forth. Just maybe, if that feels good to you. Little challenge. Big deep breath in to lift the heels up, and then exhale to lower the knees all the way down. Again, making whatever adjustments you need to. This next one is our last one, so we're going to do something a little bit crazy. We're going to lift up the knees and lift up the hips, and then we're going to lift up the right foot. And you might lift your right foot 1 inch off the floor, and that's just fine. We're rolling out that ankle. And then we're flexing the foot. Take a look at that foot and make sure that it's pointing straight down towards the floor. Maybe lift up your heel 2 more inches. And then go ahead and lower it on down. Now we're in downward facing dog. The arms are starting to get tired. We've got 1 more side to do. Lifting up the left foot, maybe just an inch. Rolling out the ankle a couple times. And then flexing that foot and taking a look at it. The toes, the whole foot are pointing straight down towards the floor. Maybe we can lift the heel 2 inches higher. Go ahead and lower the foot on down. Lower the knees on down. And then find your child's pose again. And this time when we're in child's pose, we're going to take the arms down alongside the body to either side of the legs. It kind of looks like a turtle or a roly-poly or an armadillo, something that does that thing. But it's a nice break for our arms that just did a whole bunch of good work for us. My 2-year-old gives me a pat on the shoulder and says, "You're a good helper, Mama." So this is kind of like us saying that to our arms. You're good helpers. We'll bring the hands to either side of the mat and make our way carefully back up to our tabletop position. Taking the hands nice and wide, fingers nice and wide, and we're just coming into downward facing dog to stand up this time. So we're tucking the toes, lifting the hips, keeping the knees bent, because we're walking those feet towards the hands. Hands can come off the floor. We're just coming into a forward fold here. Hands do not need to stay up on the floor. Legs do not need to be straight. A nice bend in the backs of those knees is great. We're hanging out here. Letting the neck be long. Letting the head be heavy. Letting the breath, especially the exhales, take you a little bit deeper into your pose. A little bit lower into your fold. We'll take a big bend in the knees and we'll roll one vertebrae at a time, all the way up to stand. Standing up nice and tall. Placing your feet on the floor, hip width apart, a little bit wider than hip width apart, and parallel. We want our toes pointing straight forward, our kneecaps pointing straight forward. Our hips are stacked right over our knees. We're standing up nice and tall. Shoulders are dropped. Fingertips shine down towards the floor. The breath, bringing the hands into the heart. We're going to do 3 sun breaths. Inhaling, arms come out wide and all the way up. Exhaling, folding forward and bow. Inhale for a long, flat spine. Exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, coming out and up. And exhale, hands come into center. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Exhaling to fold. Inhaling for a long, flat spine. And exhaling all the way down. Inhaling, arms come out and up. Hands come into the heart. Inhaling out and up. Exhaling, fold and bow. Inhaling for a long, flat spine. Exhaling, folding. Inhaling all the way out and up. And exhaling, hands come into the heart. Alrighty, let's open up the shoulders a little bit more. That was a start. We're going to open them up a little bit differently. So let's take the arms out wide in a T. We'll pat ourselves on the back with the right hand and bring the back of the left hand to the spine. Keeping the spine long and straight, keeping the chin level with the floor. And we'll switch sides. Patting ourselves on the back with the left hand, back of the right hand to the spine. Inhaling to switch and exhaling to kind of settle in. Inhaling to switch and exhaling to settle in. Moving with your breath. When you feel even, I wish I could remember. I think that's it. Yeah, when you feel even and feel like you've done the same number on each side, I am definitely not a trustworthy source of that information. Go ahead and shake the arms out. Okay, we're going to come into 2 standing poses on the same foot. So we're going to do warrior 3 and tree pose on the right leg, and then warrior 3 and tree pose on the left leg. Lots of balancing strength here. So we're standing onto the right foot. We want to make a really, really strong base through this whole right side. So we don't want to let the hip pop out to the side. We want to keep our whole right side nice and upright. The left foot is taking a step back, and that big toe can come to the floor. So it's like we're taking a big step forward off of the left foot. So the right foot's planted, big toes to the floor on the left side. Let's keep the arms down to the sides for starters. Taking a big deep breath in, and we can stay right here, or we can hinge forward, lifting the toe off the floor as the nose tips down. Coming to your pose. So wherever you feel like you're balancing, your weight is balanced from your upper body to your lower body, you're not going to fall, and your left toe is still pointing down at the floor, not out to the side. There's a lot going on here in this pose. I challenge you here to take a big deep breath in, and on your exhale, take your nose 1 inch lower. Feeling it on that right leg. We'll come all the way upright. Go ahead and stop off lightly with the left foot. We're still standing strong through the left, strong through the right side. Now we're coming into our tree pose. So we never fully put that left foot down on the floor. You can use it for a little kickstand here and there. We can stay right here for our tree pose, or take the foot up the inner leg. Again, staying strong and long through that whole right side of the body. Continuing to breathe, and we can take the arms up and out if that feels good, or they can stay to the heart. You might wave in the wind with your tree. Taking a big deep breath in wherever you are, and then releasing your pose, shaking out your right leg. Nice. Okay, noticing before we get into the left side, just standing in our Tadasana and noticing the difference between the right leg and the left now. There's a difference through the feet, a difference through the upper legs, difference in temperature, difference in heaviness. It's pretty cool. And to notice this stuff in our bodies just kind of trains us to be more in touch with our bodies when we're off of our yoga mats. That's why I'm always trying to get you to notice weird sensations that we feel. It's good to be in touch with your body. Then you notice if anything's weird. Alrighty, coming on to now the left side. Standing really, really tall through the left side, so we're not letting that left hip pop out. Really, really tall and upright. Taking the right big toe behind us, like we're coming out of a big step. Arms to the sides. When you're ready, taking a big deep breath in with a long straight spine. Maybe we're tipping forward. Make sure you're not rotating so that the right toes point out to the side. That right toe is just how you started, pointing straight down towards the floor. Continuing to breathe here. Big deep breath in, and on your exhale, lowering that nose 1 inch. And we'll make our way upright, using the toes just gently into the floor, making our little kickstand for tree pose. Strong and long through the left side, maybe staying right here with the right big toe to the floor, maybe bringing it up the inner leg. Feeling your tree waving in the wind, maybe there's an earthquake underneath your tree. Taking the arms out and up, finding your pose. It might be different than it was on the right side. The wind has definitely picked up in my world. Trying to keep our balance, trying to continue to breathe. Big deep breath in. And exhale to come on out. Go ahead and shake out those legs. Alrighty, let's take the feet a little bit wider to a medium wide stance with the feet. And let's turn the toes out a little bit towards the top corners of the mat. And we're not doing anything crazy here. We're just going to take the hands to the knees and shift to one side and the other side. Check in with the directions that your knees are moving. We want them to move in the same direction the feet are pointing. So adjusting the feet, adjusting the width of the feet, however you want to, so that your knees are tracking over your feet. And these are like modified ninja lunges, just getting alternating stretches through the inner legs. And making our way back up. And we'll take our feet back to parallel. Let's go ahead and reach up and over with the right hand. Keeping the left hand to the left thigh. Inhaling up to center and exhaling down to the other side. Right hand comes to the right thigh, reaching up and over with the left. We'll come back to center and then come down through center with the hands. Let's go ahead and interlace the hands behind the back. Feet are still wide, they're still parallel. I'm going to take some neck stretches here. So taking the right ear to the right shoulder, little nods up and down with the chin, feeling out the left side of the neck. Rolling the chin down towards the chest, taking the left ear to the left shoulder, little nods up and down to roll out the right side of the neck. We can roll from ear to ear or take full circles. Noticing tight places, noticing places where you hear things in your neck. Noticing where, if anywhere, you feel a stretch in any part of your face or your scalp. Anywhere surprising? Continuing to breathe, and if you're taking full circles, switching directions every once in a while. We'll meet back at center with the chin down toward the chest, releasing the hands and bringing the chin back level with the floor. Let's go ahead and walk the feet in towards one another and go to the very back of your mat. We'll take a big deep breath in, taking the arms out and all the way up. Exhale to fold forward and bow. Inhale to get long and flat through the spine. And we'll exhale, bending the knees, taking the hands down. We'll walk those hands forward till we make our way all the way down onto our mats. And we're going to come seated in the middle of our mats so that there is mat behind us and mat in front of us. Alrighty. So we're going to come into our boat pose here. I did this with preschoolers last week and it was hilarious because they don't have any core strength. They can't balance. It's hard. So don't be too hard on yourself about your boat pose. So the important thing about boat pose is that we've got our chest lifted and our low back lifted. We want to take the heels to the floor for starters. Putting the hands behind the knees, maybe, and this can be your boat pose. This was the problem with the preschoolers. None of them would take the modifications. This is a great boat pose if you're building strength. This is just fine. You can also lift the shins up level with the floor. We got to keep the low back and the heart lifted. This is where I'm at today. If you want to take the arms long, that's just fine too. Big deep breath in, and then we'll exhale, taking the feet back down. Maybe even rounding the spine, taking the top of the head as close to the knees as you can. Coming long with the spine, lifting that low back, lifting that heart, and finding your boat pose. Maybe lifting the feet, maybe just lifting the toes, maybe extending the arms long. Big deep breath in, and exhale to lower the feet on down. We're going to do that one more time. Rounding down, stretching the spine, crouching forward. And then we'll extend the spine long, lifting the low back, lifting the chest, and finding your boat pose. Lifting the feet, lifting the shins, extending the arms, any combination. Big deep breath in, and exhale on down. Alrighty, let's see, we're going to take the right leg long, hugging that left knee in. We use this left knee to twist, so we'll take the left hand behind. Hand can stay to the knee. The elbow can come to the knee. We're looking over that left shoulder. Getting a big twist through the spine and the upper back. We'll make our way back to center. Switching legs. Left leg comes long. Right knee bends. Using this right knee to twist, so the right hand comes behind, holding onto that knee, wrapping the elbow or taking the elbow to the outside, looking over the right shoulder. We'll come back to the center. And slowly, I lied, hold on, not slowly. We're going to take the bottoms of the feet together. Taking the bottoms of the feet together for a cobbler's pose. One last upright pose before we go down. So we've got the bottoms of the feet together. The hands can just be to the shins or the ankles, but we want the spine nice and strong and tall. Shoulders dropped away from the ears, getting a stretch through the inner legs. Big deep breath in here. And exhale. We're not going to fold forward here, but we are going to hinge, maybe an inch forward. Getting into that stretch just a little bit with a straight spine still. We're not pulling on anything. We're using our core strength to hinge forward. So we're not grabbing onto those feet and pulling. That's no good. We're just using our strength, the strength that's already in our bodies, to stretch our bodies. Alrighty, go ahead and release those legs. One and then the other, and now slowly, we're going to lower down to the floor, ending where we began. Noticing this time how it feels to lay down on the floor after bending and stretching and moving. Feels a little different than just going through your day. A little different to lay down on the floor after doing those things than it does after moving through your day. Making any little adjustments that you need to be comfortable here on the floor. We can take the legs long or bend the knees. Taking the feet as wide as your mat and letting the knees fall towards one another is a nice way to get a release through the low back if you find that having the legs long does not feel good. And letting the arms be heavy. Letting the belly be soft. Letting those big, strong muscles of your legs soften and relax. And even though some part of your feet is making contact with the floor, we're not holding anything in any position. Letting those feet be soft. Letting the toes disengage. Allowing the eyes to close, the face to be smooth. And we'll breathe here for a minute or two, not dwelling for too long on any thought that might arise. Begin to deepen your breath. Taking little movements with your fingers and toes. We'll bend the knees and roll to one side. Making our way all the way up into a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall. Bringing your palms together at your heart. We'll close with our 3 deep breaths. Taking a big deep breath in for the world. Hands come into the heart. Big deep breath in for our community. Hands come into the heart. And a big deep breath in for ourselves. Exhaling, hands come into the center. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Maybe next time I'll get to see your faces in person. Maybe. Namaste.